Okay, hello everyone. Welcome. And this is our land culture and people clearing for Australia specifically. So please do stop by and say hi in the chat, just so I know who's out there. And it's always fun to know who's out there and get a little interaction going if we can. But first, before we get started, I want to explain a little bit about how this got started. So I've always done land clearings, and that is a service that I offer. Hi, Michelle. Thanks for joining. And but what came up is about a year ago. I mean, specifically to these land culture people clearings. What happened was a year ago. I was working on a woman from Scotland. Hi, Sarah. And in the session, it became really clear that we could work on clearing her, but there was this atmospheric clearing that needed to happen for her. A lot of history in Scotland, a lot of nasty history of warfare, and she's one of those people who are highly sensitive, and so this was really coming up for her. Um, in even beyond the sessions, we'd clear and she'd get to a good place, but she'd be walking around and could still feel um, like all the dead people, basically. So it came up to do these clearings, and it's an interesting combination because a lot of times people just do clearing on the land, which is very needed, which is good to do, or clearing on the people. But there's kind of this combination of the people, the land and the culture that all kind of combine, that all intertwine and all kind of enmeshed. And so that's part of doing the clearing. Sophia, if you're on here, let me know because I'd like to the person who is kind of responsible for activating this. Like to have them come on because they kind of act as an anchor because they're the ones who have asked for it. They are kind of, in a way, an anchor. Now, part of the reason for for having participants join in, I mean, I could do this by myself, but uh, we act together, we act in tandem. And what happens is that as soon as somebody puts out, it says like, okay, we're going to do this, whatever it is, at the non-physical level in the ethers, the message gets out, and it's like, okay, then there's kind of this swell of anticipation of a kind of a gathering that starts to happen. And this kind of came up pretty quickly. We did it. Hi, Sophia. Good. Hi, you're here. Great. Sophia asked for this, and then we scheduled it for today. So that was about a week ago. And it's been really interesting because every time I've mentioned it or have thought about it, it's like immediately the Aborigines have been there, have shown up. And Glenna, oh Glenna, good. I was just as I was talking about the Aborigines, you popped in. So yay, good to have you on board. Glenna is also I want to honor her too as well. Hi, Marlu. Um, um, in connection with this because Glenna is also part of the Aborigines of the world, Aborigine culture of the world. And what's special about the Aborigines is that they are, in essence, the original people, the original humans, specifically wow, I'm getting emotional here. I can feel that emotion coming through of the world, of this planet. They were the first humans of this planet, like, and it goes back way back to much before Atlantis, the Atlantis times. Hey, Kayla, good to see you. So, having said that, we're gonna get started, and this will be an interesting clearing because it feels like there's it just you can kind of feel the energy building up. So today it was a bit calmer, but I've been feeling just kind of this buildup leading up to here. So Glad to have everybody on board, and everybody, the way I lead it is everybody's going to participate, and I'll guide you into, and participate by really holding your space, holding yourself, really anchoring into yourself, because by doing that, we we show the way for those who do not know how to do that for themselves, and help them to free themselves at that deeper spirit level. So that's part of um the importance for me of having people participate in these instead of me just doing them by myself. So again, if you haven't said hi, if you're new, please do stop and say hello in the chat, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. So, all right, so let's get started. And yeah, there we go. So already I can see I can see the space is really showing itself very prominently. And I do kind of set up the space before we get started. Hi, Lisa. Thanks for joining. So first thing, let's just one step at a time. So let's everybody just kind of come into your breath and come into your either your spine or your sternum. And you can close your eyes open to keep your eyes open as you wish. Um, but really kind of come into the breath and let yourself kind of get settled into your body. Feel yourself relaxing uh, a little, a little bit, a little bit more deeply. Glenna, I can see your people gathering on your side with this. So thank you to them for that honor. Sorry, I can feel the emotions coming through. So huh, it's coming up. So I can feel that coming through with this. So this is a yeah. So keep focusing on your breath and allowing the breath to get a little bit more deeper, letting yourself sink into whatever you're standing on if you're standing, or if you're lying down also, just what you're lying down on. Really, let's allow ourselves to connect with this planet. Wow, this is really taking us to ancient history of the planet already. So again, when I'm talking about ancient history, I'm talking about pre-Atlantis. And I'm not real familiar with it. I just have heard little bits here and there. Um, Matias de Stefano is a really interesting person to listen to talk about that stuff, because he has remembered a lot of information that we don't really hear about. So the first species, quote unquote, because they weren't human, of the planet, and then the Aborigines were the first human, um, specifically. So, but I can feel, so you might be feeling this for yourself. And also, please do comment of what you're picking up on, what you're feeling, what you're noticing. It makes it really, really great. He's amazing. Yeah, he's a really interesting person. So what I'm already feeling is just that actually it's the presence of the planet of, and there is, so I'm having a lot of hard time talking because there is a lot of emotion that's coming through. Hi, Diana. Thanks for joining. A lot of emotion coming through with this. So the planet, I can feel the energy, the matrix of the planet coming up. Again, please do comment on what you're noticing and you're picking up on. We all are participants in here. I'm just facilitating the process. So welcoming the planet. So really, again, taking a nice deep breath in, holding it at the top, and really anchoring yourself in your spine and in your body. So your spine, your sternum are good anchoring points. What you're sitting on also is a good anchoring point. Be really aware of that. So kind of, this has come up before where kind of like a balcony space gets set up for the participants, so you're not like smack in the middle of the clearing. Feeling emotions here too. Yes, yes, very coming very strongly. Part of the emotions, so we've actually already kind of started, but I'm kind of taking you slowly into to this. But part of the emotions in the clearing that's coming through, and I'm is the recognition of, it's around the recognition of the Aborigine by modern day people. And modern day people, we might think 21st century, but I'm in modern day, I'm talking about, as far back 1600, 1700, 1400s, the quote unquote modern history. So the more recent history. Yeah. So if you're feeling floaty, really pay attention to what you're sitting on, and keep yourself anchored in your body. This is going to be a heavy duty clearing. So, all right, let me anchor. Let me kind of create a little bit more of an anchor here. Oh, and tying that to the physical earth. Let's really ground it to the physical earth because there's the physical earth and the matrix. So I want you to really pay attention to the physical earth. Yeah, there we go. That's better. But that's every time I do one of these, it's very different, and this is again unique, and it's as each one of them is unique. There we go. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through this because part of this is also kind of guide you through and have you tune in because it's about learning how to pick up the information for yourself as well, and because everybody here is noticing stuff. You're all here. You're all probably fairly sensitive. So imagine that you're looking up from above down to, you could be either looking down at the physical planet or even just looking at a map of Australia, and just or tuning into Australia and get a sense of what it feels like, oh, right now before we begin. Uh, wow. The For me, the what's really lighting up is the, what is that? That's the East Coast. Um, is really heavy and dark, probably in the bigger cities, and then in the middle, it's not so bad, and then it's a little bit on the West Coast. It must be probably where the bigger towns are. I know Sydney's on the East Coast, and maybe Perth. I'm not real familiar with the geography. I just know the shape of Australia. Tanzania. I'm going to throw Tanzania in there because that looks really dark. That feels like there's a lot of magic in Tanzania. Uh, okay. So there we have it. Starting point. Okay. Tasmania. Okay, yeah, thanks. Uh, yes, Tanzania is in Africa. Thank you. um, like there's some odd dark stuff there for ancient, really old stuff. Um, it kind of has a voodoo flavor, but it's not. It's older. It's real old. Uh, so, anyways, just to clarify what I'm feeling here. All right. So, oh, Let's all take a nice deep breath in. Mm. And asking, so the Aborigines, I see there, please step forward and um, be honored and recognized for your presence, for having held the space for so long, for having tried to be guides on this planet for those who came after you, for having tried, having done your best with that. Oh, yeah. Now they're starting. There's the more ancient. I can kind of see the more ancient Aborigines, but I'm also seeing more modern Aborigine, and I say modern by the way they're dressed, so more from modern days. Hi, Elizabeth. Modern times. So more current generations. Let's put it that way. Oh, so already there's a lot of movement that's coming up. It's actually gone very still, very quiet, and there's uh, just a it's almost like a whiteout. Like if you imagine yourself driving through a snow, and not necessarily a snowstorm, not but where it's like really heavy snow, and you're driving through and you can't. All you see is the snow falling. That's sort of what it's like. And I can have a sense of, Glenn, I'm also going to ask for your help with this because you are in a sense closer to them, but because I feel like they want to communicate with me, or they're maybe communicating with me, and I'm not quite picking it up. So in case anything comes through for you, please do post on. They're actually they're very still and they're just watching. Uh, they're not watching. There's something that's going on that I'm not quite understanding yet what they're doing, and it almost feels like they're actually sending out a vibration through their. It's not really their thoughts, but in their minds, and not minds like the human mind, but that deeper state, and they're sending out a vibration. Um, that's bringing through and oh, clearing out. It's interesting because it feels like what really happened in more modern history is that, well, we know a little bit about, some of us know a little bit about this, but the penal colony having been set up by the Great Britain, coming in from the east side, and so this massive distortion coming in from the east, and then having moved over. So they're actually part of, my sense is part of what they're doing with the sending out the vibration there is to push that back and clear that out. Of course, there were uh, people from other places before, but not sending people over to the impact that was done for penal colony. So we're pushing all those distortions back and out. So there's a lot of heavy negative energies that come from that judgment um, of people, and not because they've done something wrong, but because they're not following the law. And they are poor. So you steal something, that's it. Your life is done with. So that distortion coming in, and of course, that basically that's heavy abuse and control. and so those people came, a lot of people came with that in them and then brought that to Australia, to that area, and started to inflict that on the people there or on others that were there. Mm. A lot of stealing of children, a lot of stealing of women, and literally stealing, like going and when people were asleep or when people were, uh, you know, like on homesteads, for example. So this is more modern history, and stealing the children, killing the people and stealing the children. Ah! So that's coming up, clearing that out. I'm seeing a lot of, like, dead people, wandering, so, not because they weren't able to cross over properly, um, and just wandering, like, almost like sleepwalking, when when somebody's sleepwalking and they're just kind of, uh, wandering aimlessly, so I see dead people on the land doing that. Oh. So clearing all that up, allowing them to release, helping them to release. Mm. Also, very heavy negative religious influence, very distorting uh, influence. And it kind of feels, I'll read your comment in a minute, Sophia. Thanks. Very, yeah. It's like the very, controlling, very manipulative, very really tight on people, and that really distorting people and keeping them from really, um, being themselves, being what came up is keeping them from being human, which is a weird. So that's actually a form of slavery. When you take a human being and you don't allow them to be human, you don't treat them as human, and we still have that going on in modern days. In big cities, people coming from other places. I've heard stories from Los Angeles, people coming from Asia, and they're like, you got 20 people in a van that are chained inside the van and that are not treated as humans. That's slavery. Kind of thing. So, Sophie, I understand we are all blessed. I understand that we are all simply called to harmonize and balance with core of the planet, heart frequencies. That's the call for me. Harmony, balance, peace, full connection with the planet's heart, time, and space. Yeah. So very nice. Stay grounded in that. So that's a very nice intention, but stay grounded in your body with that intention, because you kind of want to pull out of being human, of being in physical human form. Um, so make sure to just ground yourself with that for really embodying that beautiful intention for yourself. Nice deep breath in. So clearing up those cultural, so those are a little bit of the cultural and religious influences that come through. So there's some stuckness. It's on the lower on the map. It's on the lower right hand side. So southeast. Um, it's like you get to a level, and it's just like, man, it's just really anchored in. So the people that have been in power have there's been some with good intentions, but there's kind of been this overall uh like we've seen everywhere, this abuse of power and it's control and domination. But when you look at the history of how non-Aborigine people were sent to that to Australia, that's the background they came with. That's what they didn't, you know, most of them didn't know any better. Um, so that kind of is sort of the inheritance that's there in the people who are ruling. Ah, take a nice deep breath in. Feel yourself where you're sitting. Feel yourself in your physical body. Ah, connected to the earth. Oh, dropping down, anchoring into the planet. Still really, really quiet, but there's a lot of underlying, you know, the surface is quiet. Sometimes these clearings you can feel a lot. We did El Salvador last time, and wow, that was very heavy. And so we're not feeling the heaviness. It's almost, but it's quietly getting shifted out. So why is part of the reasons it's happening so quietly is because we do have the Aborigines are participating on their side and clearing. There it just feels thick, yeah. So they're actually participating in the clearing very strongly. Yeah, so there's a thickness to the energy, and then it's interesting because it's like walking through smoke, you know, like a really heavy smoke area where there's fire. 'Cause that brings to mind the forest fires that happened. When was it, last year, the year before? I can't remember. Like in the last couple years. Um, and so still, yeah, it's like the residue of that is still in the air, but it's not just the residue of the smoke, but it's also the residue of clearings that have been done, but that have not shifted out, that are still stuck in that because people are still kind of in that stuck place of not having difficulty letting go of the past. So, again, coming into your body, noticing your body, your spine or your sternum, what you're sitting on, your breath coming into your physical lungs. Glenna, again, I'm picking up on your people on your side, your people on your side. I recognize the drumming and the chanting from this side of the Pacific. So thank you for your people for joining in. Yes, we even have a bot, an outer space bot that's stopped in for the clearing. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. And now I'm starting to see the Aborigines also in Australia that are it's like dancing, chanting kind of, and I'm not real familiar with their culture, so but it's like I see a group that's doing some kind of a form of dance uh, uh, and around fire and stuff. And it's really sending out that vibration. Oh, there's some really that East Coast there is just well, it's just that heaviness. It's like not gonna let go, not gonna let go. It's just like holding on, like I don't know, like they're chained down, cemented down kind of attitude. So I think you guys in Australia are actually experiencing that pattern. Ah, there's some really yes, there's some very strong control pieces that are not wanting to let go. This is beyond either we hold on or we die. I mean, this is like so far beyond that. It's bizarre. Um, it's like you know, it's like when you have the like a metal bolt or something that's just totally stuck that you can't do anything with because uh it's a what do I want to say, rusted. And it's so rusted, it's like it's rusted in together. There's no way you can undo it, no matter what you try, and you're just like, it's totally stuck. Used to being controlled and not knowing what to do. Yeah, and it's even beyond that. It's really yes, and so used to controlling and not knowing how to step out of that. It's kind of both pieces. Um, and it's like I guess it's sort of like rigor mortis, actually, when you think about it. It's like, you know, rigor mortis and the like the fist is just stuck like that, and it's after death, and it's like, you know, the only way to undo that hand after the person's died is to, like, just break it because it's so set in. So, rigor mortis, there we go. That's what's going on there on the coast, especially the coast. The more in you go, it's better. It's also lighter on the West Coast. There's a lot more ease and releasing that's happening on the West Coast than on the East Coast. Uh, okay, take a nice deep breath in. There's this just this incredible silence that's happening, real deep stillness, and it the um, metaphor that comes to mind to describe that is that, you know, after a bomb has been dropped, after there's been intense warfare, modern warfare, you know, with bombs, with explosions, and all of a sudden everything stops, and it's just that's it's sort of this dead silence that's there. Ugh. So shifting, there's that layer of like what kind of that heavy air that's starting to lift from the land. Um, so that's shifting up, and now we're really kind of accessing more of the land uh, piece, and there's just this layer of black, um, and and this top layer the land of just this black. It's and black basically just really heavy distortions that are just there. So let's work to clear that out. Oh, wow. Okay, now what's coming up is the voluntary suicide. Uh, I see that with the Aborigine, but I feel there's other people who've done that in Australia too. Groups because they don't want to continue. They don't want to keep moving forward because they're seeing that things are not changing. And so, kind of voluntary suicide in the sense of because they're choosing not to either not to reproduce and have children, or they're choosing to as a group to end their life. Um, collectively end their life. There's that red, I don't know what it's called, Sophia, that red, it's like that big red mountain that's, or red hill that's in famous red hill. I don't know the name of it in Australia. Um, that is coming to mind. And that feels like that is actually a very sacred area. Um, and and the energies there are starting to wake up, to some deep energies in there are starting to are now coming to life right now. And it's almost feeling like it's a Ayers Rock, Uluru. Yeah, okay. Um, it's like this vibration going out from that through the earth. It's almost like an earthquake, like a, and I'm seeing these um, cracks. I don't know the word in fissures. I forget the word in English. That are running from that across the rest of Australia, uh, breaking uh, breaking the holding pattern. That's the thing about earthquakes is when we get it creates this shaking, and if when you start to shake, it's like you really can't hold on to stuff. It's when you're standing still, that's fine, but something starts to shake you, it's really hard. And so there's this, that's what's coming, the vibration that's coming from that Uluru, um, and sending that uh, across the continent of Australia. And the land is turning white. So again, everybody take a nice deep breath in. Feel your body, come a little bit more into your body. This is kind of a more kind of floaty thing. More floaty clearing than others. And I really see this happening. It's interesting because it's happening in a different way than other clearings have happened before. Um, feel your spine. Take a minute to feel your spine again. Feel what you're sitting on. Feel your body. Feel your breath in coming in and out of your body. Yeah, much floaty for sure. Yeah, Kayla's been on several of these. Yeah, it is happening in at another dimensional level, not at the than others that we've done. So it's really important for people to keep noticing what you're sitting on, keep noticing your back, what you're, lean into what you're sitting on, sit back. So Yeah, and as these vibrations are they're still going out for Uluru, and it's like turning the land white, and it's pushing back, yeah, going from red to white. Um, uh, and it's kind of it's a little eerie because there's definitely kind of this death feeling to it. And underneath that, there's I can feel um, the anger and like basically saying no more. When anger that comes through when you reach a breaking point and you go no more. So coming through at that level. Okay, that's starting to calm down and really releasing. So it's just again that vibrational release that happened, mm, pushing that off the land. So a lot of times people wonder, is like, okay, well, they don't want to release stuff, or they go through all this thing to try to break it down. It doesn't matter. Once it leaves an area, um, basically, just to keep it real simple, because there's a lot more involved. But basically, as soon as if you're holding on to something, like let's say you've got holding on anger, so literally energetically and frequency wise, you can actually say, okay, there's this little thing of anger. Let's say it's right here, and once you release that, it just dissipates. It gets transmuted. So it's not like, oh my God, the earth. I mean, there's when it's released properly. Let's put it that way, because there is a lot that gets released into the earth that just gets stuck there, um, and just floating around until somebody releases it properly. So, and the way to release it properly is the question that I'm hearing, is that when you're working on your stuff, acknowledge what it is, acknowledge where it comes from, and it's like, okay, we're done with this. Instead of just kind of taking it and just wanting to get rid of it and push it out, kind of thing. Um, so acknowledging where that it's yours, that where it came from, kind of thing. Okay, so starting to get lighter. Ooh, okay. So I'm starting, especially the young people. I'm seeing young people from the. I've got the Aborigines on the left side, and I'm seeing young people on the right side. They have not met up yet. They're still apart, but it's sort of like they're starting to step forward and wanting something, not wanting something different. So they're starting to, at that spirit level, getting activated to participate, to step forward to for going deeper with releasing and clearing, and so participating that way, and um, being actively involved, let's say, because they really want something different. So uh, you know uh, it's when we it's very interesting when you get older and you look back on it. When you're in 50s and 60s, you look back on people in 20, and it's interesting because every generation goes through that, where the young people have all these new ideas that they are in the process of bringing forward. So I do want to thank you guys, this younger generation that's stepping forward, because you're bringing new ideas, you're bringing a fresh look on things, and it's always good to have that fresh look. And it tends to really come from the younger generations, because of this newness in life, to life, and this hope and aspirations that we really feel when we're younger. um, and then we start, as we moving forward in our lives, we go into this place of looking to activate, to put into practice, these ideas, these feelings. So it's good. It's good. So that's what I'm really seeing coming forward, um, with this. There's still kind of this divide. Fresh look plus wisdom, yeah. Yeah, so the wisdom from the Aborigines, so I like that because for it's like the wisdom of the Aborigines and the fresh look. There is this divide, so we're gonna have to work through that. It's, between the two sides, and it's almost like this glass it's like this glass wall. So I think we're gonna need to work to take down that separation, and let's see if we can see what that separation is about or why it's there. Wow. Okay. It's more the control stuff. It's like purposely kept separate, um, by control mechanisms. Um, wow. What's coming through like with the Aborigines? Some of them have really held on to the deeper values, but some of them were, manipulated basically into, and controlled and manipulated into letting go, and, uh, that's part of that separation. Um, so another basically it comes down to control, manipulation, control and abuse, um, by the dominant powers. Uh, so, what I'm going to have everybody do here is really come into yourselves, come into your bodies, come into your being. Ah, feel that alignment with yourself, with your pure self, with your pure essence, and owning in it with your breath, feeling either your sternum, your spine, and what you're sitting on, and feeling that essence within you, because at the core that's what we are, and feeling that when you breathe into that, owning for yourself your power, your strength, ugh, who you are, with a high level of certainty, and being like so sure nothing is going to knock that out of you, really. Even if you can only do this for a moment, because it is holding on. Sometimes it can be holding on to something higher vibrational frequencies, even if it's just a thought than what we're used to. It's like owning that for yourself. You have your power. You are your own power. You are your own entity. Ah, yeah. And saying no to being controlled by something external from you, by something that is not of the highest essence and highest and purest value of your infinite self, your spirit infinite self. Ah, there we go. Okay. That's clearing out a big layer by doing that. And that wall is kind of slowly melting, literally. So it's like this ice wall, but something on the southern end there that's anchored in. Ah, so I'll work on that piece and keep breathing into that strength of knowingness as best as you can do it. Feeling that knowingness of your strength, your power, owning yourself, basically. Yep. Oh, yeah, there's some Asian influence there that's coming in that's not or from the north. So I'm saying Asia, Asian because it's Asia is from above that, but not necessarily Asia, but from the north, from above the north of the continent. Ooh, yeah. Now this isn't necessarily Asian, but it's that again that power domination matrix that wants to break down nature, that wants to rule and dominate nature. Ah, like all those from the north of Australia going up towards the Asian continent. There's stuff going on there, like really trying to break down, dominate nature is basically what's coming down to. So pushing that back, um, uh, and seeing Australia as just seeing it as a money pit, basically. So of no uh, heart, I'll say heart interest, but no respect, no, just seeing purely for profit. So let's keep that out, move that out. Yeah. Okay, deep breath in again. Feel that purity coming through your spine, purity of your essence. Okay, let's see. Very calm again. It's interesting as the color white just keeps coming up. Um, Even though it's a lot of red land in Australia. Okay, so now there's a lot of grief coming through, so that's good. Grief is not necessarily the first thing that comes through because there's anger that's been put on top of that because it can be so devastating to feel the grief that it's easier to go to an emotion like anger. Um, and anger also helps to get through the grief to survive, kind of thing. So there's deep grief that's coming through, and like rains just coming through. It's coming. It's from the Aborigine side, just coming, draining out of like they're crying, their tears, and that's just like this torrent that's coming out. Yeah. So this is going to go on a little longer. We're going to keep working on it till we're done. Um, so this is going to be a bit longer than the usual, but it's important to not go by the clock time, but go by when we're done. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that's releasing. Wow. Okay, that feels much better. There's a lot of that wall has melted, but there's still certain places where there's just it's almost like this spike of trying to keep it in place. Because as soon as those two really join up and unite forces, then there's no stopping them, kind of thing. So that's good. Let's see what we can do to help them to really bring that unity in so that we can all move forward. And again, that resistance. Okay. So everybody come into your core essence again. And if you don't have a sense of that, just focus on your spine and focus on really anchoring into your being. Um, owning your being, owning yourself. Ah, yeah. Here's another piece of rigor mortis here coming through, coming out. Yeah, very nice. Wow. Yeah, it's like literally, I mean, rigor mortis is the best term I can use for that. It's like so stuck and so ingrained. And coming into your chest or your heart space, but staying grounded with that. Hello, Mike. Melekali Kimaka. Um, give me the translation for that. I really appreciate you showing up with the Hawaiian piece there, Mike. So shifting that, yeah. So coming into, got sidetracked here. Um, here we go. Okay, come into your essence. Come into your spine again. Holding and come into Merry Christmas. Thank you, Mike. This is a land clearing for Australia, culture land people clearing. So thanks for joining in. We've been at this for about an hour now, but we're not. We're going until we're done. So we're probably running over time a little bit here. That's all right. Come into your body. Come into your heart space, and so I'm just going to tell you to go somewhere and just go where you feel you are guided to go. Come into your sacred heart space. It's a little different. Yeah, there we go. Good job. There we go. Yeah. Oh, very nice. And just feel that space for yourself. Breathe into that. And let's bring that to, yeah, that's okay. That's melting that control spot. Very nice. Wow, that's creating a very nice, yeah, support there for getting that rigor mortis of control to release. Oh, wow. Okay, so that is a big shift that you guys helped with. So take a deep breath in. So there's a lot more lightness that's coming in now. Okay, yeah, that was good. That was a good one. Um, a lot more lightness and that divide is not there. It's not like the two groups have come together, but the divide is not there. So there's this opening that is starting to happen at that deeper level. So I want to we've got a Russian bot coming in. Um, uh, so just feel into that for yourself. There's a lightness there. So that it's almost there's a joy coming in. It's very light, but it's there. So the two groups have not come together yet, but there's an opening there. They're not separated out anymore. Okay, so now it's starting to happen. Um, and again, these are two important groups. There's the it's sort of like the modern and the old. And the modern, the like real modern, the like now, the now. It's the now and the ancient side that are coming together to unite and shift that, bring that a fresh start to, not just Australia, but for all of us. So kind of setting a kind of a boundary, setting a space around Australia. Let's get Tasmania involved here too. That's haven't talked too much about Tasmania except at the beginning, but and it's like this little sphere that's around the whole continent. Okay. Feel that for yourself. Feel that from it's really coming through as being a lot lighter, um, being a lot more positive. So it's like there's actually hope that's coming through here. Uh, and things starting to settle down. So it's starting to feel less at that etheric matrix level and kind of feeling coming into grounding. Uh, so please comment in. I'm curious as to what you guys are feeling or picking up on. What it feels like to you, how it's shifted. It's very calm now. Feels like people waking up from a dream, or from a nightmare. Maybe, definitely lighter. Okay, good. I think Sarah, I think you're in Australia, yeah. Um, so good, yeah, good. Definitely lighter. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, and it instead of having that divide, it feels like, yeah, just got in. Oh, just got in. Well, we're coming to an end, but thanks for joining another from the Hawaiian contingent. Um, so very nice. Yeah, and it's actually nice for have you guys pop in there because there's an it very that's a tie to very ancient civilizations of that area of the world. So you kind of uh, even if you're not from Hawaii directly, you're bringing that influence there just because you're in Hawaii. So thank you for bringing that at the end. Yeah, it's actually interesting because it feels like it's really helping to pull in, that unification. It's like I'm seeing these streamers coming down from the Pacific towards Australia. So that whole area, the Pacific area, has a very ancient history, um, and so I'm feeling that unification coming in, and it's like they're coming into Australia, in their vibrationally coming into Australia to partake in this unification. This one was definitely different. Yes, yeah, very different. Really happening at a very different vibrational level than the other ones. So I think this was a very important one to do. All right, taking a nice deep breath in. I think this is kind of coming to a close here. Mm-mm-mm. Let's see. A little bit more. I want to do a little bit more on this. Not there's a little bit of that divide coming back up. So so everybody just kind of we're just gonna do this again. Come into yourself. See yourself. Doesn't matter how many people we have on this. And just imagine that we are in a circle and you kind of are on this uh, so the image, so here's an image for all of you to hold in your minds right now. It's that image we've kind of seen, probably seen some picture of this somewhere along the lines, but the planet Earth, and it's sort of like this stretch of people holding hands that's just going around the planet. So take a deep breath in and feel that, hold that image in your mind and feel that essence of that unity of people, of beings. Let's say beings. Let's expand that out to not just humans, but beings. That's, yeah. There we go. Stretching across the globe, and let's. It's about unifying the whole planet here, coming into that unification. Um, at this, at least at a deeper level, it might take us a little bit of time to kind of go through it at the physical level because there's a lot of clearing that needs to be done, a lot of rectifying of patterns and stuff that need to be done at a literal physical level, like rectifying of patterns, meaning laws changing, that kind of that level. So I first experienced chills and calmness at other times. Yeah, very nice. Good for you. Just confirming your your sensitivity, your awareness. Sensitivity is maybe not a awareness that's coming through for you. So very good. Any other comments from people? Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's really lighting up the whole planet for that last piece there. Very nice. We don't do this alone. We do this together. We do this alone at a certain level, but in that doing it for ourselves alone. So there is a piece about doing it for ourselves alone. This journey and this awakening. Um, doing that for ourselves, that actually activates that, this doing it together kind of thing. And it's kind of this, feels like it doesn't quite make sense because it's like, well, if I'm doing this by myself, how is that doing it with other people? Because as everybody starts to really do the journey that they need, the part of the journey that they need to do for themselves, for just coming into themselves, um, that activates it for other people. It's again at spirit level. Everybody sees everything. Everybody knows everything. All the what's going on all the time. So nothing is hidden at that level. Holding hands brought a smile on my face. Yeah, very nice. Good. Um, and so when you do that for yourself, it's like it's that sending out that signal to the next person saying, you can do this too. Let's come into your own being, to your own strength, to your own beauty, to your own expression of the divine, of however you want to call it, of God, of pure source, of whatever, of existence that you are. You are this hologram of the whole of existence. You are this individuated expression of the whole of existence. You are an aspect of the whole. So by doing your own work, by holding yourself strong in your essence and not allowing that to be influence, and it's work in progress. But you send out that message um, to the next person, the next person, next person, or the people around you. So it's like this is what we need to do to come together in a way that is supportive, in a way that is supportive of all of us being in that purity and that wholeness of ourselves, kind of thing. So let's all take a nice deep breath in and just feel into that. And it's like I can see this band, like of beings just joined around the earth, and just that lightness coming through, and that getting stronger. So really nice, really good job. Any other comments before we sign off here? I'm seeing dancing on your side with the elders, Glenna. Glenna, there's more open to trust. I saw people holding hands and chanting as we were coming to center. Yeah, and I'm just as you were. You must have been typing that came through, but I was just seeing, yeah, full regalia again, and dancing and chanting. So very nice. Thank you for being a part of this. And thank you to your people for coming in. Yeah, it's like there's a sense of relief that's kind of coming through. I mean, in a good way. Like we finally we've gotten to this point, kind of thing. So that's coming through. That's nice. Um, and the openness and the trust is huge. And it was clear to me the last couple of days, well, even, maybe even more, but at least the last couple of days, that it's like the Aborigines have to come first. They never have, but they have to come first. So yeah, from Glenna, very honored to be part of this. Hi, hi. So thank you. Um, honors mine. Tasmania. Yes. What's with it? What's and what you comment question? Tasmania. Tasmania's in there. Yeah. Uh, it's uh, it's interesting. There's very different energy in Tasmania. Um, it's in the process. There's kind of this stirring that's happening. It's definitely lighter, but there's a very jungle kind of feeling to it. Uh, thank you for doing this. Thank you all for joining. Yeah, so I appreciate everybody joining in. It makes it a lot more fun for one, but it's also um, more powerful because you guys come in and you're also showing the way at that deeper level, showing the way um, to those who need to be shown the way. Very good. So very nice. Anything else before, any last comments before we sign up? This has been kind of a really long, interesting session. So it's been really good. I'm glad this came up to do, and I'm glad you all participated in. Um, and it's also my honor to facilitate this. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Sophia. Thank you for how and Sophia, what how are you feeling for yourself over there? Like Sophia, I think, and Sarah definitely. So Sarah said definitely lighter. Anything? Any other comments? Anything you're noticing, Sophia? I am very happy. I woke up. um, I know you were awake earlier, so that's good. Um, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to sign off, guys, and thank you all. Have a wonderful rest of the year. Next week, no coming into being for those of you who tend to pop in. Good. Left side of body is left feet is swollen. Okay, yeah, that some clearing. Left side can be a lot of different things, but yeah, yeah. So anchor into the ground with both feet. Get your feet out in the ground, the dirt, the sand if you can, and really feel those feet chakras opening up and pulling the energy through, because if it's like not moving through very well. Left side can be the spirit side. So just a little side note. So to flush to help flush that through for you. Okay, guys. So have a wonderful end of the year. Again, coming into being, we'll be back on. I think it's the 5th is the actual date, on the first Wednesday of January, and take the time to go in and connect with yourself at a very deep level for the rest of the year, when you can, even if it's just once, and by yourself too. Just to really take that in and connect with yourself, because that's what's this time is all about, especially this year. All right, take care, everybody, and I'll see you in the ethers and on whatever else we connect.